Hello and welcome to live coverage of the elite men's race here at the European Road Championships from Alkmaar in the Netherlands. 172.6 kilometers is the length of the race today, and we are expecting a big battle. The who's who of the best sprinters in the world are here, expecting that to play out exactly as they want it. But so far this week, it hasn't played into the hands of the sprinters all the time. We have had plenty of breakaways going clear, and one of them was yesterday. So let's have a look back to the action. The under-23 men kicked off day 4. A breakaway of Jonas Hiddeberg of Norway and Alexander Konishev of Italy went clear. They built a decent, if not mind-blowing gap as the Danes controlled the bunch behind. As they hit the cobbled section for the penultimate time, Konishev made his bid for glory, dropping the Norwegian. With high winds buffeting much of Europe, he went through the bell with just over 20 seconds advantage. It was down to just 14 seconds with 8.7 kilometers to go, but he would hold on right until the cobbles for the final time with 1.7 kilometers remaining to the finish. He was overhauled by a group that's getting smaller and smaller. Denmark's Nicholas Larsen led out, but it would be Italian Alberto Dainese who left his sprint quite late, paid his teammates back perfectly for their work, coming through to take the title. Larsen held on for silver just ahead of Estonia's Ray Orm, and his teammates were understandably super happy with his victory. In the elite women's race, a break of Amy Peters, Elena Cecchini and Lisa Klein went clear at 80 kilometers to go, and at one point had a lead of 2.5 minutes. With two of the fastest sprinters in the race, the Dutch decided to try and bring the break back, even though they had a potential winner up the road. Penultimate time across the cobblestones, the gap was now down to a catchable margin as they headed towards the bell. The trio had not missed a beat the entire race, equally sharing the workload. As they headed towards 10 kilometers to go, though, the Dutch decided it was poker time and stopped working. Marianne Vos sitting up after her and Brand had done all the work to bring it back. Germany had Klein in the break, Italy had Cecchini, so it was advantage breakaway and the gap went back out over a minute. The new European champion was now assured of coming from the breakaway and into the finish. They forced Lisa Klein to the front to lead out. Cecchini looked poised and ready, but it was Amy Peters that made her move. The local rider was not going to be denied taking the European title in front of a home crowd. And while the Italian got into her slipstream, there was really only ever going to be one winner in this sprint, and Amy Peters added her name to a list that includes Marianne Vos and Anna van der Breggen amongst the roll call of honour. So Amy Peters was crowned the new European champion ahead of Elena Cecchini of Italy and Lisa Klein of Germany. What a race that was. That breakaway going clear with 80 kilometers to go, and it really was a game of poker, as we said there. The three biggest, strongest nations, they all gambled on that one, and it was really interesting to see Vos and Brand just sit up with 10k to go. But a really, really deserved winner in Amy Peters. Really, really high wins that they had to deal with yesterday as well. It's only slightly calmer today. The medal table so far, who are the big winners so far? And there you can see it's the Netherlands, the home nation, topping that medals table. 5 golds, 2 silvers and 3 bronze, 10 in total. Just ahead of Italy, 3, 1 and 4. Germany looking good as well. You saw there Lisa Klein, and she's had 3 medals so far this week. Denmark, Belgium and the Ukraine have all had golds as well. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that plans out this afternoon in terms of the medal tables. We've got Elia Viviani here, Dylan Groenewegen in front of a home crowd. He will be gunning for a victory. They are already off and racing. Before we get to live pictures, we'll have a little look back to this morning and then we'll get right to the action. Let's have a look at the map of today's loop. So it's 172.6 kilometers in length. We've got a first big loop of 46.16 kilometers, and then into the city circuit, 11 laps of 11.5 kilometers. We've got 32 to 33 kilometer an hour winds from the south or southwest and southwest direction. Let's have a look at the field. So Brian Cockard's wearing number 1 one, Arnaud Demare. Watch out for him today. In terms of Belgium, Merlier, Jasper Phillips, both up there. Trentin, the defending champion, Elia Viviani as well. Groenewegen, Turnus and Ackermann. Meesgert is on phenomenal form as well. Great Britain. Lots of cards to play for Great Britain. So will they go with the experience? Will they go with someone like Cavendish? But they've also got McClay. They've got Chris Lawless in there as well. Gabs Calais, young sprinter. Morcow. Alexander Kristoff, a former winner of this race as well. Bennett, watch out for him. Emils Leipens as well. A name at the bottom there. He was in the breakaway in Glasgow last year. So that's going to be, will they have a go today? Dylan Groenewegen in the orange on the sign-on. It will, you would expect, if it comes down to a sprint, the Dutch will be absolutely planning to try and let it play out with that scenario for Dylan Groenewegen. Pascal Ackermann, the German rider as well. Watch out for him. Mark Cavendish. Lots of people, I'm sure, want to see Mark Cavendish back to his brilliant best. It really hasn't been the best few years for Mark Cavendish. And yeah, I'm sure he was tweeting a little bit earlier on saying always super proud to pull on that British jersey. Elia Viviani. Been a big week. That move from De Koning Quickstep over to Cofidis next year. I'm sure Viviani will want to go to his new team with a European Champions jersey potentially on his shoulders. Matteo Trentin, though, there as well. He can be their outside bet as well today. There's the whole French team. So Arnaud Demare, Brian Cocker there. A lot of people, again, Brian Cocker, it's just not quite been the years past for Brian Cocker. Tim Merlier, they're the Belgian national champion and cyclocross star, really a great sprinter. Jasper Phillips for Belgium as well. Watch out for him. Ably backed up in this one. Jens Kukelera, Yves Lampart, Lawrence Narsson, Jonas Rijkaard, Edward Turns and Otto Vergade are the team of Belgium. Team France. And of course, on the start line a little bit earlier on, we had a minute's silence for Bjorg Lambrecht, who we so tragically lost in the Tour of Poland earlier on in the week. And all our love and thoughts go out to all his friends, family and teammates. The Belgian team on the front for the rollout. The flag dropped, and you can see as we rolled out from the start, all the nations together. What's interesting in the European Championships, no radio communication between the directors and the riders. So we saw that in the elite women's race yesterday. It does kind of change the dynamics. Soon as the flag dropped, this was how it went off a little bit earlier on today. They absolutely gassed it from the start and really split things. Beautiful shot here of the windmill. There was just echelons as this twisty circuit, as we said, 32 to 33 km/h winds, south-southwesterly, constant changes of direction. And you would see at this point, anyone that was expecting a fairly sedate start to the race was not getting it. Italy, there's Matteo Trentin there. Elia Viviani, ever so vigilant, making sure that he was there. Tunes was there as well. Ackermann, Demare in here as well. Sam Bennett, Luca Meersgets, Dylan Groenewegen. So all of the sprinters very aware that this could happen. It kind of yesterday, this is exactly what the Dutch did in the elite women's race yesterday. They absolutely smashed it from the start, split it. It came back together with about 80 kilometers to go. And that was when Amy Peters made her move and it ultimately went all the way to the finish. But Arnaud Demare, the French champion, France will be looking to try and get something out of this one today. Again, we always look at these championship races and just, you know, how is it going to pan out? You can see quite warm, so 20 degrees Celsius, that's that 35 km/h wind. And that means that the way that the wind is just going to be blowing across the circuit, right from the sort of bottom left of the circuit straight across that one. So that is how things have gone so far. As you can see, we got live pictures. You can this afternoon keep in touch with me. I will hopefully be getting the Facebook chat that will come in. At MartyMacTV is my Twitter. At GCN Tweet. I'll try and keep an eye on that. If you want a little shout out, want to say hello, any questions that you might have, and your predictions, who is going to run out the winner of this one. Let's get right to live pictures. So you can see 51.4 kilometers to go. 25 seconds is the time gap back from this group. So a shorter championship race as well. We're so used to seeing races in excess of 200 kilometers, 200, 250 kilometers in length. This one 172.6. So you can see the racing and those pictures a little bit earlier on today, absolutely full on from the gun. And we'll have a look as soon as we get down. We'll try and pick out as many riders as we can from this group. So we are in Alkmaar, if you're joining us for the first time this weekend here on GCN Racing. So up to the front. So the Slovakian riders here, they haven't got Peter Sagan in the race. Just running down through this group. But 25 seconds. Sebastian Langefeld just on the back of the group there. Just ahead of him, Florian Seneschal is the rider there, just ahead of him. So you can see the motorbike just trying to go up through the group. So Sebastian Langefeld off the EF Education First team in that orange jersey. And you can see the flags sticking straight out here. This is basically the same wind direction that we had yesterday, head of the race. And it's our defending champion. You can see there on the front. So Matteo Trentin has made this group. So Trentin, again, you would be expecting, looking for Elia Viviani. Matteo Trentin, he can win a bunch of sprints. Handy sprinter is Trentin. So he would, again, you can tell, he loves that jersey. Super proud of that jersey. So there's Florian Seneschal, just having a look, keeping an eye on him. So he's caught a glimpse as well. 33 is Pascal Ackermann. There's a Pascal Ackermann just trying to grab a bottle at this speed as well. We've got Rüdiger Selig in here as well. Selig is the other German rider. He's wearing number 39. 33 is Ackermann. So a little bit of a chat going on amongst the group here. So that's Yves Lampaert. So Lampaert there. So good to see Yves Lampaert. So Belgium are represented in here. Simone Consoni on the back here, wearing number 19. So a little bit of chat going on amongst the group. So this race really has gone off at warp speed. We'll just get the full picture. So this is onto your cobblestones if you weren't with us yesterday. So he comes through. Elia Viviani is there as well. Seeing Viviani just close to the front. Swings off, so Seneschal on to the back. So this cobbled section comes inside 2 kilometers from the finish. Eric Bashka is the rider that's wearing 108 for Slovakia. You see the motorbike camera, bless him, trying to get us a nice shot here of the side so you can see all the riders' numbers. So across the cobbles again, it shows what decent cobblestones these are as well. They are proper cobbles as well. So not as we call ceremonial cobblestones, which are the sort of bricks at the side that we've got. They are all there. So 30 seconds, so a decent advantage. So having both Viviani and Trentin in this group. So the Italians, again, this is what's, when you look at a circuit like this, pan flat. I mean, at some points we go below sea level. That's what's interesting when you look at this circuit. But it's the wind that plays into it. So as I was saying yesterday, in terms of the wind maps, we're getting absolutely buffeted here in Europe at the moment with the wind, and the way Alkmaar sits, it's just blowing straight across the circuit, which means you get loads of those very, very strong headwind sections, real fast tailwind sections as well. And Adam Blythe, it looks. I was just trying to pick out who the British rider in there was, and just getting a glimpse of them now. It looks like we've got Adam Blythe in here, who's up there. Let's get a closer look. You can see this chasing group just fighting to try and get back on terms and get back up towards the front of this one. Davide Cimolai is there as well, so it's real strength in numbers here. So 4 laps to go this time, so 4 to go. Here come the chasing group behind, so you can see the Dutch here are on the front. They've got one man represented at the front. It's Chris Lawless actually that's in there, sorry for Great Britain, wearing number 51. So good move by Lawless. Again, great sprinter is Chris Lawless. But the Italians really throwing down the gauntlet here to the Dutch, putting the likes of Viviani, Cimolai and Trentin in that leading group. Ackermann getting himself up there as well for Germany. And for the Dutch, just having Langerfeld up there. They will want to try and bring this back for Dylan Groenewegen. So your aerial shot here of your chasing group. They're holding it steady, so it's still sitting there at 35 seconds. So Ackermann through. Hands over, so just one representative. So France, you would say, even having Seneschal up here, you would expect them to be looking to try and set this up for Arnaud Demare. Trentin, that familiar style of Matteo Trentin. So Lampard just tries to close this down. They've really got to get this organised here. Luke Rowe there wearing 53. Michael Schwarzman just towards the back of the group there for Germany. Now the full orange train comes up towards the front, so assisted here by Norway. Kristoffer Halvorsen, Norway have got in this race. A lot of chat going on down the group there, as you can see. So the home team So they've got Kern Baumann, Dylan Groenewegen, Sebastian Langeveld is to break, Tom Leeser is also in there, Elmar Reinders, Ramon Sinkeldam, Mike Turnison is on the front, and Dylan Van Baal as well. Dylan Van Baal sat second wheel here behind Turnison. Just rolling out that tempo, keeping that rhythm here. But you can see already between this front group and this chasing group behind, this race is absolutely disintegrated from what we had earlier on. If this comes back together, it will give us a real sizable group at the front. Back to our leading group here. So you have Matteo Trentin, Simone Consoni, Davide Cimolai, Yves Lampart, Florian Seneschal, Luca Miesgitz is the other rider that we pick out, Rudiger Selig, Pascal Ackermann, Eric Bashka, Casper Asgreen is another rider we didn't identify, and then Chris Lawless from Great Britain. But Miesgitz up there as well. To have Luca Miesgitz in here, he is on great form at the moment, is Luca Miesgitz. He's wearing the green and light blue colours. Casper Asgreen from Denmark, he's there in the red and white colours. So we've got Bashka, Ackermann, Selig, Langeveld, Seneschal, Trentin, Consoni, Lampart, Viviani, Lawless, Cimolai, Miesgitz and Asgreen. That is the makeup of your leading group. Back to the peloton. There's Dylan Groenewegen in the orange there. He's got the green of Sam Bennett right behind him. So a big shout out to the Irish. So Ireland started with Sam Bennett, who's been well up there, Robert John McCarthy, Matthew Teggart and Rory Townsend. So they're the riders that have been, they stayed with us on the start for Ireland. Couple of little shout outs today. So Donut Endurance over on Twitter. How many riders does each nation have in the European Championships today? It was a good question yesterday, actually. That came in. I apologise I missed it during the broadcast. It came from Greg Brown. That he just wondering how many new to championship racing. How does it work? How come some nations only have 6 riders, and some nations only have 1. So it's done on per nation in terms of your national rankings and how many riders that you actually get to field as a nation. So you know, some of your Dutch team. I'll give you the full rundown momentarily. But yeah, it's a good question. I'll give you a full rundown in terms of the French. They've got France coming into this one with 8 riders. Belgium coming in with 8, Italy coming in with 8 as well. So are the Netherlands, and then you get down to your smaller nations, which sometimes, you know, Sweden have got 1 rider, Portugal have got 1 rider, Luxembourg have got 4 riders. So as I said, it all goes on your nation's ranking, sort of on the world ranking as to how many riders you actually get to field in the championships. Dylan Van Baal working hard on the front here. So the elite men, so apologies, I was just scrabbling around for my notes on this one. So the way the rankings work, so as per the 11th of August, which is today, so the nations ranked 1 to 10 have 8 riders. They are allowed to start 8 riders. Nations that are ranked 11th to 20th, they may enter 6 riders. The nations ranked 21 to 30 are given 4 riders, and then all the nations that are ranked 31st to 50th are given 1 rider on the start. So as I say, it goes through the year in terms of the points you score and where your nations are ranked and that kind of thing. I hope that answers the question. So it was good. It was a good one yesterday. So thanks for posing that one. Just checking in from the Philippines, charity checking in. So thank you from checking in from the Philippines. Jennifer Dixon as well checking in from down under. So it'll be night time for you down under. So thanks for taking the time to join us here on GCN Racing. 31 seconds though, 43.8 to go. As I said, it's when we were just before the start, we were looking at this one, and as you said, championship races like this are normally, we're used to them being 200 plus kilometers, up to sort of 250 kilometers, and it changes the race completely. So you'll see, you know, world championships, European championships, Olympics, that kind of thing. You'll always get that early break of the day where it just goes clear, and most of the time it has absolutely, you know, if you go clear on the, you know, first 5k of 250, it's very, very unusual that breakaway is going to go all the way to the finish. So a lot of the time it is what we call, and it's not demeaning, it's that TV time break, in terms of, you know you're out there, you're going to sit there all day. I mean, Magnus Bax did one of his funny stories. I remember him being off the front in the Athens Olympics way back now, long time ago now, way back 2004, but he went on the attack and no one went with him, and he said he knew he literally was going to end up sitting out there all day. And Swedish TV went live to the Olympic road race because Sweden were winning the Olympics in the road race. But he knew he was never, ever in a million years going to go all the way to the finish. So now with this, with a shorter race of 172.6, it's just completely changed the dynamic of the race and what we have. And you can see it's just opened it up, made it a completely different race. So you would look at this circuit and potentially, I mean, we'd look at certain flat circuits and you think, well, literally the bunch could stay together for most of it. You could have the nations just controlling things, and then literally then we have a bunch sprint, and that would be one of those days. I mean, I've had races like that, and you sit there for 4 hours basically, and the bunch stays together, no one gets away. But this course here, and I was over years, and again, apologies if I've mentioned it before and bore you, but I used to commentate in the Tour of Qatar a lot, and it was the wind, because the Tour of Qatar was open. It wasn't like this. It was just completely open in the desert, and it was just the wind that just played into and changed the whole dynamic of the race. And that's what you've got here. You saw, if you were with us at the top of our broadcast, in terms of where they way across on that first loop, just absolutely blew the race to bits. And you've got to think on this sort of circuit with so many corners that, you know, you're on this section here and you've got that crosswind. You can see the way those flags are just sticking out to the side. Then you're swinging left, you've got a tailwind section, then you're back into the wind. And that's what Amy Peters was saying yesterday. And we also had that problem yesterday where we were getting the wind that was just funneling down through the buildings as well, sort of coming through the houses, and then you go back out onto those really sort of exposed sections as well. So riders with the size of frames now and the big deep section wheels as well, you've got to sort of anticipate that wind coming through, and it did catch a few riders out yesterday. Looking for a water bottle there, Michael Morkow didn't get it for Denmark. Michael Morkow, you've got to say, one of the most respected lead-out men in the world, and Elia Viviani, that transfer from De Koning Quick-Step to Cofidis, he is the man that he's really going to miss. And it kind of got a little bit lost in translation in terms of, you know, he's not happy ever handing over that lead-out man. So Trentin, Cozzoni, Cimolai, the Italians up there, Miesga, Select, Ackermann, Langeveld, Lampard. But look at Matteo Trentin here, the Italian. Little flick of the elbow. Bashka, Asgreen and Lawless all up here, 28 seconds. But you can see this breakaway group all absolutely fully committed, 100% to this one, and staying away. Simone Consoni, so the Italian that's in there as well. So Consoni that's in there, he's going from UAE Team Emirates to Cofidis next year. So Consoni is going to be one of Elia Viviani's, I'm sure, his lead-out men and his faithful workers, and also get the opportunities when he can. Dylan Groenewegen here, and he'll be hoping that his teammates, along with the Norwegians, can try and bring this one back together, get this one under control for him. He will want that European Champions jersey. The sprinters, they're going to get a huge amount of opportunities to take those championship jerseys and be able to wear that all season long. So yeah, he will want this one to come back together. So don't forget, if you want to say hi at Marty Mac TV or at GCN Tweets, and we'll give you a little shout out and say hello. It's always great to find out where you're watching us as well. Quite a few of you staying up late in Australia and watching us. That's always great to hear as well. And then the charity from the Philippines as well. So Mark Gilmore, there you go, watching from Ohio. So looks like less wind than the women had. About 9 or 10 kilometers an hour less wind, Mark, that we've got today, but still up there in the 30s. And we had a little shot earlier on of the local football stadium as well, where part of the roof had collapsed after yesterday's very high winds. So yeah, slightly less, about 9 to 10 kilometers an hour less wind for the men today. Lampard through to the front. Lawless has a big glance to his right here. And they're coming up towards the finish. And they're going to get 3 laps to go. So you can see they're making pretty light work of this circuit at the moment. Bashka on the back. Ackerman and Viviani again. So what was it when you look at a championship race? We're so used to the likes of Elia Viviani and Pascal Ackerman, our sprinters, basically just sat in the bunch, just sat the way sort of Dylan Groenewegen is here, being brought through by your team, whether that's your trade team or your national team. 3 laps to go this time. The likes of Andre Greipel, you see Greipel up there getting off the front in the classics and that sort of thing, and the likes of Viviani and Ackerman, if you want to, sometimes when you see a championship race and the way it's unfolding like this is when you get yourself out into those breakaways, get yourself up there. We're sort of just so used to them being delivered to the finish with a couple hundred meters to go, not seeing them at all throughout the day, but the likes of Viviani and Ackerman, they're full-on racers. You know, you've got to be able to ride in the breakaways, and in order to be able to get to that point in your career where you get that big contract. And Viviani, very versatile rider, of course, being the track man as well. He'll be looking to defend that Olympic Omnium title next year. Jumps backwards and forwards between the track and the road, and it really does work for him. And so he'll be hoping that his new team, Cofidis, can deliver him the sort of bike that he needs as well. And I think he said if they don't, he'll just ride his nice gold Pinarello that he's got. Constantly having a little look back over the shoulder of this group just to see where that group are behind. 18 seconds our gap is down to now, so it is coming back. So you can see that the chase, a very sort of concerted chase from that group behind. So it's a gamble here from this group for the likes of Viviani, Miesgitz and Ackerman. They are working, they're not sitting back. Viviani's dropped back down the pace line here, right to the back, but they're not resting the legs. But you could say as well, if you're not resting your legs, they are in the wind, you are having to work. But behind, that group's pretty small behind as well, isn't it? So the likes of Groenewegen still not really massively sheltered from the wind. He's being brought through by his team, but the group is small. You can see it's all in one long line here. So it's pretty much the entirety of this breakaway group against the Dutch team with a couple of Norwegians in here. So if you are just tuning in today, welcome aboard. This is the European Elite Men's Championship here in Alkmaar in the Netherlands, live on GCN Racing. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Hit the bell icon as well, which you'll be notified whenever we upload a new video or we go live. Lots of live racing and highlights to come for you this year. Last year's race was in Glasgow. Matteo Trentin took that one ahead of Mathieu van der Poel and Wout van Aert. That was that race where everyone really started to get excited about Mathieu van der Poel and Wout van Aert on the road. Those two riders getting the silver and bronze medals. Jesus Herrada was up there as well. Davide Chimolai, who's there on the front, rides with the Israel Cycling Academy. He was 5th last year. Then we went 7 seconds back to Sandro Marisa, and that was the gap back to them. The job done, you would say, there by Anders Skarseth, just dropping off the back of the group. Michael Albassini, Pierre-Luc Perchon, Nico Dents were the next riders, and then Moritz Lammertink rounded out the top 10. That was the way things panned out last year. It was a pretty grisly day, I think I remember, in Glasgow as well. The Women's Tour of Scotland going on as well at the moment. They haven't had it all their own way in terms of the weather, but you've got Eric Bashka, so the riders in here from Slovakia. You've got Pascal Ackermann and Rudiger Selig from Germany. Sebastian Langefeld in the orange from the Netherlands, not working at all at the moment. Matteo Trentin, Simone Consoni, Elia Viviani and Davide Chimolai. Those are your riders in blue of Italy, that familiar blue colours. Yves Lampard in the light blue of Belgium. Chris Lawless in the predominantly white jersey with the red and the GBR on it for Great Britain. Luka Miesgits, you can see there in the light green, white and blue colours. He is in there as well for Slovenia. And then you've got Kasper Asgreen, the Danish rider, in the red and white. So they will come round next time with just 2 laps to go. So there you have it. There's your graphics of 4 Italians. One of our big favourites, you would say. Elia Viviani, Luka Miesgits, outside bet. Pascal Ackermann, great rider as well, the German rider. Chris Lawless, very fast finisher as well, is Chris Lawless. And Chris Lawless, the whole British team. So they started with Adam Blythe, Mark Cavendish, Gabs Calaig, Alex Dowsett, Lawless, who's in the break, Dan McClay, Luke Rowe and Connor Swift. Connor Swift was very much to the front a little bit earlier on today. Chris Lawless, 23 years old, and of course took the general classification in the Tour of Yorkshire a little bit earlier on in the season. If you were with us for that one, took the overall title in that one. And again, that battle on the final day into Leeds with Greg Van Avermaet, and came into this championships as well with took the best young rider in Tour de Wallonie, which is the race that kind of overlaps the back end of the Tour de France. 18 seconds. It's holding fast here. They need to make the catch pretty soon. If our breakaway group can just try and push this one out again to 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds, you can see Simone Consoni absolutely burying himself here. The tight circuit that we've got here, you go through these certain sections at 18 seconds, they can still see them, but the way they're riding the corners, the constant change of direction, the constant change of wind direction as well, it makes a real concerted chase all that more difficult. And Consoni and Chimolai, you can see here, are the 2 riders that are sort of almost being sacrificed here for Viviani and Trentin. Consoni is doing a phenomenal job, and he's just pulled that gap out just a tiny bit more. Great crowds you can see here. Sunny day in Alkmaar. And you can see so many people out celebrating the cycling. What a great week it has been. Lots of new names as well up there to to conjure with as well. Dainese, that under-23 champion, and looking at some of the transfers that have come in. Alberto Dainese, who took the under-23 title for Italy, going from SEG to Team Sunweb next year, so it's good to see some interesting transfers that are going on. "20 seconds, so coming round, so they will get 2 laps to go. So this circuit is 11.5 kilometers, so they did a 46.16 kilometer loop and then into 11 laps of this 11.5 kilometer circuit. Constantly the riders, you can see here, getting the opportunities to just glance across. As I said a little bit earlier on, no radio communication as well between the riders, so it's all done here on looking across the circuit, seeing where everyone is, relying on the whiteboard as well, just to see where that group is behind. But it is very much being left to the Dutch. When you look at the amount of nations that we've got in that front group and the riders from those particular nations, so Germany, they haven't got to do anything. They're quite happy with Pascal Ackermann being up there. The Italians, they're not going to contribute. Great Britain, they will be happy with Lawless. Lawless is a fast finisher. They know that he could win this one. The Slovenian team, I think the Slovenian team of Miesgets, I think they only had 2. They had, how many riders did they have on the start? Oh, they had a bigger team than I thought they did, actually. Giving them a little bit of disrespect there. They had a fairly sizable team. There's Davide Cimolai, job done by Cimolai. So they started with Gasper Katrasnik, my apologies, Marco Kump, Luka Miesgets, David Per, Luka Pibenik was the other Slovenian rider as well. So so they're happy. So they're not going to contribute in that chase as well. The Danes with Kasper Asgreen up there, they would look at that and think, yeah, do you know what? I would be quite happy with that one. A little bit of a split in the group. Cimolai goes back and gets Dylan van Baarle. Just not a happy bunny there, is he, Dylan van Baarle? Don't know what he's having a go at him for there. He's saying just he's a little bit close there. He's like, I've just been up the road, mate. It's getting all a bit fiery here. Ooh. So Ackermann take near the Swanee nearly lost their arm there. Look at that. Watch that one. So coming into this one, coming in really tight. It's very at this sort of speed as well. You can see it's not flat at all in terms of trying to take a bottle, and Selig swings off the front. So this is interesting here. So not going to work. Ackermann, Viviani and Lampard now going clear. Ackermann's managed to grab himself a bottle. This could play into the hands here of this group. You can see Yves Lampard would probably be happier with the bigger group in terms of this one, but in terms of maybe that element of surprise at this point in the race, with 25 kilometers to go, clipping off the front Viviani Ackermann with Lampard here, if that group gets caught behind, there might just be, again, that momentary pause where they count, you look through the group, you count it down, and you're like, hang on a minute, we're still missing 2 big names, and what 2 big names, and Lampard. They are. Yves Lampard did a great time trial as well, the former Belgian champion. Was 7th in the time trial. So Viviani rides away. We'll see if anyone tries to come across. We're onto the cobblestones. So this section here is within 2 kilometers from the finish. So heading back in towards the line. It's been, you can see, absolutely full on in this one. Sebastian Langefeld on the back. So this is going to be left to these riders. Any non-Italians or Germans in this one, and it's Chris Lawless that's doing the work. Seneschal's got to come through as well, so goes on to the cobblestones. Lawless swings off the cobblestones. Trentin might contribute, just sneakily here, Matteo Trentin, in terms of contributing, but not looking like you're contributing to the chase as well. He doesn't want to let that European Champions jersey go, does he? our leaders. So 15 seconds already, 30 seconds back to the group. So when you look at the way the races have gone so far in these championships, with 24k to go, 30 seconds. Yeah, if they can push this one out now, maybe to 45, you can see that the Dutch are now down to just Dylan van Baarle on the front. Consoni swings off. He's happy now. He's got Viviani up in this leading group. Viviani absolutely drilling it. He will want to, he will be confident in winning from this group, but 3-up sprint between Viviani, Ackermann and Lampaert. Lampaert won't want to take this one in towards the finish, will he? He'll want to, he'll be the one that will be trying to jump clear before the finish. That's it. The wind has gone out of that chase. It looks like the catch has now been made to that chasing group behind. Now it presses on. Can this trio go all the way to the finish? And can Yves Lampaert spoil the party for Ackermann and Viviani and manage to take one? He's that sort of rider, Yves Lampaert. 2 laps to go. So 2 circuits remaining. So Lampaert, Viviani and Ackermann. So this clock starts on the line. This is the bridge that they come across. You can see now that Germany have got themselves up there. It's now down to just Van Baarle on the front here. There's Groenewegen a little bit further back. So the Dutch, if they want this back, there's Sam Bennett in that group. Consoni is there. Miesgets now needs to try and recover. Kukalera just having a bit of a chat with the rest of the teammates. Luke Rowe just having a little bit of a chat down the back with Mark Cavendish. So for Great Britain, you can see the German riders now on the front just having a bit of a word. It's now again a little bit of reinforcements now in orange. So this helps the likes of Cavendish in that group as well. They're saving the legs. They're right down the back of the group. And there's your leaders. Confirmation. Ackermann, Viviani, Lampaert. Can they go all the way to the finish? 40 seconds now for this trio. Ackermann's teammates are just taking the pressure off the front of that chasing peloton behind. And that is playing into the hands of our leaders. So there's Lampaert and Viviani. Viviani comes through. Going through that corner, Ackermann got onto the wheel of Viviani. There was Lampaert. Selig sat up going through the corner. Just, you can see, just went through the corner, was looking for a bit of assistance. Glanced across, Ackermann jumped out of the corner, and that was it. Game over, job done. Langenfeld tried to recover, tried to react rather, and away they came. So thanks to the Castle Poets. So we've got quite a select group of 3. Dangerous to let the others let them go. Ackermann and Elia at the finish if this stays away. It was his picks before the race started. And thanks as well to Sanket Kulkarnithi. Sorry if I haven't pronounced that properly. You have to put a lot of effort in the last 5 kilometres. Better to divide the work effort right now. Yes, indeed. They've got to take this one all the way into the final kilometres. Again, it's going to be no messing in this one. As I said, Yves Lampaert out of this trio will be the rider that will want to try and take an opportunity to get clear in an out-and-out sprint. Even in a small group, when you've been out there all day, it does change as a sprinter as well. When you've been out there, you're working, as I said, you haven't been sat there all back of the bus, sitting in the armchair, kicking back in the group, being shielded by your teammates. You've been out there kilometre after kilometre in the wind. Very, very windy today. Tough day for the riders. This is their championship bid. If they get caught, then they won't have the legs to run out in the sprint. So this is for Ackermann and Viviani. This is the time when they try and win this one. The gap out to, if they can push this out 45 seconds, if they can now push this out towards a minute, as they come round the next time. That's a race-winning move, I would say, in my book, unless they the Dutch really ramp this one up. You can see it's just down to those two riders. Langeveld and Van Baal are the two riders that are on the front of this one. What a race we have. It's the European Elite Men's Championship if you are just tuning in here on GCN Racing. Today we are live on both Facebook and on YouTube as well. Thanks for your tweets as well. So remember, at MartyMacTV, at GCN Tweets, if you want to say hello. We'll get all we're trying to get all the different chats all lined up as well. So thanks for checking in and saying hello. This race, 172.6 kilometers in length. That early break, Basker, Ackermann, Selig, Langeveld, Seneschal, Trentin, last year's winner. In that early break, Consoni, Lampard, Viviani, Lawless, Chimmerline, Measgets and Asgreen now has given way to just 3 riders in the front, and 2 big pre-race favourites in Elia Viviani and Pascal Ackermann. You can see the Belgians getting themselves up here now as well. And in terms of Belgium, Jasper Phillips, it could be their man, or Tim Merlier, both very fast finishers in this one. So Tim Merlier, if you're a follower of cyclocross, if you are a follower of cyclocross, yes, we have got all the cyclocross live again on GCN Racing this winter on, again, Facebook and YouTube as well. But Tim Merlier, what a season Tim Merlier is having. There's Jens Kukalera, but Merlier just 26, and he's just, again, for the cyclocross riders, phenomenal sprinter. He's got a really, really fast finish on him. Won the national championship road race, then went on to the Tour of Alsace. The team won the prologue. He then won 2 stages and the points classification in the Tour of Alsace. So for Belgium, you would look at that and you think, do you know what comes into this? Does come back. That's our man potentially, but they also have got Jasper Phillips, who applies his trade on the road with UAE Team Emirates, just 21 years old. Of course, started his season down under with a stage in the Santos Tour Down Under, up there in Knocker, of course, as well. You just see the camera bike bouncing over some of the road furniture here. They just do it. The cameramen do an amazing job when they're bouncing over all this road furniture here, trying to keep the camera steady and keep decent pictures. But again, you see the way it's just kicking the camera bike up there. 18.2, 51 seconds with 18.1 to go. So this gap now just increasing all the time. So you've got 3 against 2 it was. Now Great Britain come to the front, it looks like. Is that Great Britain? Yes, Luke Rowe looks like has now come through towards the front. And in terms of Great Britain, the hierarchy, the hierarchy of power, you would say, within that team. With Cavendish, we know Cavendish is still in there. Will they work for Cavendish? Would they give Dan McClay the lead out as well? They've got Connor Swift in there as well. The rider that moved across from Madison Genesis to Arkea Samsic. We'll just get a glimpse to see which ones of them are still there. But at the moment, this gap is building in favour of our breakaway group. And it just shows flat, fast circuit. It all the wind is what plays into the hands of the dynamic of the race, and it is giving us some thrilling racing so far this week. And again, racing's racing, isn't it? Because in this part of the world, we look and we go, it's going to be a bunch sprint. Look at that every day, twice on Sunday, and that's not what we're having, because you've got groups of riders, big names, some of the biggest names in our sport that have gone, do you know what, we're not going to sit back and wait for a sprint. We're going to get out there and we're going to race, and that's what's giving us an absolutely phenomenal race here. And again, you might feel, do you know what, if they come into the sprint here, Groenewegen, in front of a home crowd, just gives you that little bit of extra, doesn't it? We've seen it so far with the Dutch. They're sitting there right on the top of the medals table. Italy have won looking at the championship so far. So they've won some time trial titles, the juniors from memory. Looking at that one, but they won both the under-23 women with Letizia Paternoster, and then Dianese taking the under-23 men's title as well. So Italy, good European championships for them as well. Germany, they had Lisa Klein in the break yesterday, taking that bronze medal. Just missed out yesterday, but look at this aerial shot. Pascal Ackermann on the front, absolutely smashing it, isn't he? Elia Viviani behind him. Yves Lampaert, Yves Lampaert will be going through his mind here, just thinking, right, how am I going to win this one out of Viviani and Ackermann? Because again, for a Belgian to win in front of a big, in front of a Dutch crowd, that'd be a big one for Yves Lampaert as well. It's like all sort of close nation rivalries, you know. So he'll be going through that little Rolodex in his head, just thinking of Viviani, Ackermann, looking for any weaknesses. He'll just be taking mental notes. Okay, how are they looking? How are they feeling? How can I try and get away? Do I go long? Do I jump? Do I try and jump them across that bridge? Do I go on the cobblestones with 2K to go? How am I going to try and outwit this one? Because what he wants to try and do is profit from Ackermann and Viviani, just that momentary hesitation when they think, right, okay, if you chase, I've got to save my legs for the sprint. So that's what Yves Lampaert's got to do, try and profit and benefit from those two looking at each other. France have got themselves up here in the mix. Germany, that you can see here, are now running interference on the front for Pascal Ackermann, so not directly interrupting the chase, but they don't want to, again, you see the pressure goes off there. Seneschal's come through. They're getting a little bit of assistance now from the Norwegians, but just Germany, that presence at the front is just enough. You can see there, enough, couple of seconds, it might be enough. It's gone out now, 56 seconds. Just Langerfeld sliding back down there at the front. Seneschal going through, just not having that fluidity, the continuity, because at the moment all you had there is 3 against 2. Because sometimes if you're watching this for the first time, you're watching bike racing for the first time, or you're new to bike racing, you look at the size of that group behind, you think, well, there's what, 30, 40 riders in that chasing group behind, and you got 3 riders in the front. So how come this group are not just able to just eat up that road in between them and catch them? But if you look at, you got 3 riders in the lead. You've got 1 rider on the front here, 2, 3, then you get down to the 2 German riders that are there. So you've got 3 against 2. Dylan van Baarle in the orange and Sebastian Langerfeld back up towards the front. So now we add another couple of riders into that mix. So then we've got 3 against 4. So that's the numbers that you're looking at in terms of this chase. 3 riders fully committed like this, not missing a turn, not missing a beat. They're now pushing this gap out. They're about to hit the cobblestones here for the penultimate time. So onto this 1 kilometer section of cobbles for the penultimate time. Elia Viviani, is it going to be a European Champions jersey to take to his new team Cofidis next year? Will it be Pascal Ackermann or will it be Yves Lampaert? They are going to get the bell when they come through the finish this time. There's your chasing group. They really need to get this one organised. They are running out of kilometres here in terms of controlling this race. So Denmark and the Netherlands, but the Germans, they're absolute perfect here. They're not blocking. They're just, as the you could see all the nations now starting to come up and get in front of them. They're just, as I call it, running interference. They're not blocking. They're just kind of there. And you see that the 2 riders, they're fairly hefty lads as well, you can see, that are at the front, the 2 German riders that are there. So it's just kind of, nah, not going to come through. So yeah, here we go. Dylan van Baarle back up to the front. Mark Cavendish now comes through. So Great Britain, if they want this one, they're going to have to rescue something. Great Britain, no medals so far in these European Championships for Great Britain. I think as for some of it, you look at, especially the sort of younger riders, you've got Junior World Track Championships that are starting this week as well. So maybe sort of the likes of the sort of younger medal hopes as well. The way the other nations have sort of grabbed them, the juniors and the under-23s, the likes of sort of Eleanor Backstead in the time trial, who would have probably gone into that one as a favourites, looking at the pursuit of Junior World. So you've got that kind of gap between those as well. So some nations sort of a little bit light on some of the younger riders. But yeah, for Great Britain, they need to maybe try and do something here. Cav is on the front. Lawless right behind him. The Italians are up there. Matteo Trentin is right through and up there. So Mark Cavendish, pressure on here for Cavendish. But France have got to try and get France. They need the French up here. We need the Dutch up here as well. There's no real continuity, but that little effort across the cobbles there by Cavendish has just held it at 46 seconds, but going through the line with 11.5k to go, still with 46 seconds, and the chase not being organised behind. This means that this is just all playing into the hands of these three. Lantern Rouge, thanks for your message as well. As we go through with 1 lap to go, just say Viviani extremely fit for a sprinter, having pulled massive turns in the mountains for Quick Step. He would counter immediately if he chases down Lampard. Bell lap this time. 1 lap to go here in the Elite Men's Championships in Alkmaar in the Netherlands. Your leading group, you would say, 2 of the most popular sprinters in the world. Yves Lampard as well, the former Belgian champion. Would be a welcome victory for him as well. But you would have to say, in a pound for pound heavyweight championship of the world, out of this breakaway group, it would be between Viviani and Ackermann. For Lampard, it would be pulling off the surprise of the year if he managed to take that one. The peloton now, what's left of the peloton, this reduced group going through. Sam Bennett, you can see, is still in there for Ireland. They get the bell. It's 48 seconds as they go through the line. Our leading group fully committed. You can see now it's 3 against 3. So our breakaway group, you've got 1 rider, Dylan van Baarle, on the front here for the Netherlands. You've got, I think it's Florence Seneschal, who's up there for France, and we have 1 rider from Norway that's up there as well. Lampard, that Belgian jersey. Ackermann right behind him. So as far as I can see behind, I think it's Christopher Halvorsen that's now contributing to the chase for Norway. Halvorsen, again, you would say, if it came down to a sprint, Halvorsen could have an opportunity, but that might mean that Alexander, we haven't really seen him, but Alexander Kristoff, he did get we thought we were trying to find him on those splits very early on in the day, but if Christopher Halvorsen's got himself up there, it probably means that Alexander Kristoff has got himself in there. 10.1 kilometers to go, still holding 46 seconds. So unless they really get something going here, this is going to the finish. So Seneschal, Van Baarle, Halvorsen. Now they're about to get a little bit more help here from the Dutch, but have they left it too late? You can see Germany and Italy are all up here. Looks like Tom Skunge in there as well for Latvia, still in there as well. He's the sort of man that we would have been looking for in a breakaway group as well. So Ilko Van Wijk, sorry, hope I said that right. 48 seconds. Yeah, thanks for your message as well. That's that. So Ilko, that's it. Job done. Viviani just lightning the load here, along by where the soigneurs and things are. So as we get hit 5k to go, then the mental game will start. They cannot sit back at all in this one. You can see constantly, again, just glancing across, seeing where, if they can catch a glimpse of that group. Now you all start to look around at each other. Kristoffer Halvorsen for Norway is here on the fronts. Now we're getting a bit of assistance, but they really have got to do something special to try and pull this one back. So the Netherlands, that team, I think they needed to put a couple more riders up there a little bit earlier on than this one. The Belgian team car now up towards Yves Lampaert just now. Okay, what are we going to do? How are you going to win this one? How are you going to outwit these two come the finish? So remember, this is bike racing. Anything can happen. That's why we love it. We had a breakaway going all the way to the finish yesterday in the elite women's race. And the same again today, it looks like. Now down to 39 seconds. Dylan van Baarle on the front here. Again, like Viviani, did a phenomenal job in the Tour de France, didn't he, Dylan van Baarle? I think that was one of the... Viviani, I think, was, again, one of the revelations of the mountain stages in the Tour de France, wasn't he? Just seeing how close he was going up those mountains and keeping Julien Alaphilippe in striking distance. Tom Leeser, that was it. Job done for Tom Leeser. That's all he had in him there for Tom Leeser. Kristoffer Halvorsen, that's his job done as well. The fuel tank hits empty. The energy levels are done. They just had one big turn in them. But this race has been absolutely frantic. 36 seconds. So those two riders, you saw them, they absolutely opened the throttle on that one. They brought it back to 37 seconds. You normally, general rule of thumb in when you've got your trade teams out there, you would say 10k to go, 36 seconds. This is coming back and it's coming down to a sprint. But this is different. You've got your national teams, riders that don't ride together all of the time. They probably know each other. They might have raced together in teams in the past. But you can see now some teams have got, as we said, 8 riders. Some teams have got 6. Some riders just got 1. And this group is very much reduced compared to what we would normally have, that big peloton coming in towards the finish. It's Sebastian Langeveld on the front here for the Netherlands. Dylan van Baarle right behind him. Then the two teammates of Pascal Ackermann. Again, huge crowds here through Alkmaar cheering on our trio of leaders. Can they hang on to the finish? Will it be agony? Will it be caught within striking distance of the line? We see those sort of gaps. I mean, again, they end up getting caught with about 1,500 meters to go. So anything can happen here, but it's going to take a monumental effort here from Sebastian Langeveld and Dylan van Baarle. They had Tom Leeser for a short period of time. The Germans want the motorbike away from the front, as you can imagine. They feel it's a little bit too close. Meeskets is still there. Sam Bennett is poised and ready. The Irish rider, you can see there in the dark green colours of Ireland. Could it come back? Could it be Sam Bennett? That's if it came down to a sprint, Sam Bennett is on absolutely phenomenal form as well at the moment. No idea where Sam Bennett's going next year either, have we? At the moment, the Irishman. Could he replace Elia Viviani at De Koenig Quickstep? There we have to throw that one out there, as they couldn't afford to keep Viviani. That could be a good move for him, couldn't it? Back to the head of the race. Lampaert, Ackermann and Viviani is your winner of the European Road Championships coming from this trio. Or can the teammate? 35 seconds There's the board to the side. 5.5 kilometers to go. Will the Dutch deliver Dylan Groenewegen back up to the head of the race? Remember, we got that cobblestone section within 2 kilometers to go. There can be no messing around from this group at all. They have got to go right their way in towards that finish line and then just sprint it out. If they sit back, if they look around at each other at all on this final circuit, that group behind will be right on them. And Sebastian Langeveld here is doing a huge job on the front for Dylan Groenewegen, but just how much has he got left in the tank to pull this one back under control? Viviani, Ackermann and Lampard, you can see, just absolutely frantic here at the front. There's a few little rain spots, is that on the lens of the camera as well. There was a little bit of a chance of rain around this sort of time when we were looking at the I was looking at the weather forecast a little bit earlier on, and Dylan van Baarle running right onto the back of that bike there. They're getting a little, as you saw, the German riders were just complaining about how close they were. 4.5k to go, still holding 36 seconds. Can they hang on to the finish? There you go, job done. What an absolute beast of a ride, you would say there, from Sebastian Langeveld. But Dylan van Baarle's on the front, and you can see all like that behind him. You got the 2 German riders, you got the Frenchman there. Arnaud Demare is right up towards the front. Then you've got the Italians, Luca Meersgets, then Sam Bennett are all there. 30 seconds, 4.2k to go. They're going to need a little bit of assistance, I think, from Dylan van Baarle. He's lost Sebastian Langeveld, so the Dutch need to get up there towards Dylan Groenewegen and try and bring him through. Let's have a little look down this group, see who's got a bit of numbers. Great Britain have got some numbers there. We might need them back up there towards the front. Is that Mike Turnerson that's right in front of Dylan Groenewegen? Van Baarle is done, and the 2 German riders, there we go, as I said, running interference, they just sit up. Viviani's teammates sit up as well. This plays into the hands of the breakaway. You might see this jump now, another sort of 5 down. Lampard now makes his move. 3.5k to go. Yves Lampard, as we said, he's going to have to go long on this one. Ackermann is trying to react. He'll glance around now at Viviani, and that's exactly what he does. Yves Lampard, 3.5 kilometers to go in towards the finish. Viviani is playing the game of poker here. Ackermann flicks his elbow. Viviani knows that he's got to go, or this one is going to Yves Lampard. Is that Pascal Ackermann done? Is it going to be Lampard and Viviani that fight it out? Ackermann, you can see, is on the ropes here. 3.1k to go, 28 seconds. Lampard and Viviani now are riding away. Good move now by Yves Lampard, going well out from the finish. He is done. Pascal Ackermann's day is done here. You can see the black clouds in the distance. Lampard looks around. His heart will sink when he sees that Viviani is the rider with him. He knows if he takes Viviani to the finish, it would be Viviani that would sprint this one out. But of course, these 2 riders, teammates at the moment for the rest of the year. Viviani shakes his head. Lampard flicks the elbow. But will there, if Lampard sits up here, will he play the game as well? Will he swing off, look around, and could Pascal Ackermann come back? But Ackermann at the moment absolutely done in that attack. 3.5k to go. We're going to hit the cobblestones for the final time. Lampard doing the big job on the front. Elia Viviani not able to do it. Watch this. Lampard, you know that moment now. That's the time to go. The little bit of the pressure going off the front. Ackermann tries to react quickly. Lampard looks back, shifts the hands onto the brake levers, starts to look around at Viviani, flicks the elbow a couple of times, and then Viviani goes. There you go. Viviani, watch this. That's a track jump, isn't it, across that gap. You got to try and close that gap and close it quickly when you go. And Ackermann, the head just drops onto the cobblestones. Last time, 1.7 kilometers to go. There's Ackermann trying to find his way back. He's got to keep burying himself here. If Lampard and Viviani start looking around at the front, there'll come a point here where Yves Lampard starts thinking, I'm not dragging Viviani all the way to the finish. He's looking around for a bit of assistance now. And if Ackermann gets back, he's just got to jump straight past them. 1.4k to go. The Italian swinger Viviani now comes through towards the front. Lampard, that big job. He's done 2k on the front of this one. Viviani knows if he lets Ackermann come back, potentially he might just have something in the sprint. But I think the day is done for Ackermann behind. Viviani will look for Lampard to do a little bit more work. Lampard will be trying to recover here. Here goes Mike Turnison on the front for the Dutch. They've left it late. Viviani, it was a short turn. Swings back round, hands back over to the Belgian rider. So Elia Viviani and Yves Lampard getting roared on here. They're looking around to see where Pascal Ackermann is. Viviani, he has been on form since the beginning of middle of January. First stage of the Tour Down Under. Cadel Evans road race. He won at the UAE Tour. He's won at Tirreno Adriatico. He then went on, he won at the Tour de Suisse. He's won stages this year in the Tour de France. He won the Prudential Ride London Classic. We are in August and he is still on top form. And is he going to get a European Champions jersey to crown what has been a phenomenal season? Lampard's burying himself on the front. Viviani, look how relaxed and controlled he looks. Here comes Ackermann. Ackermann is trying to get himself back, but it's 200 meters to go up towards the line. When is Viviani going to go? Lampard opens up the sprint. Viviani right in the slipstream, 150 meters. Lampard, he tries, but it's not going to be. It's going to be a victory for Italy. Elia Viviani points to the sky and it takes the victory. That is your European champion. Lampard takes silver. Ackermann takes the bronze medal. Look at that average speed, 49 kilometers an hour average speed, over 172.6 kilometers. What a race, and a hugely popular victor, you can imagine. Here's the sprint for 4th place. That's Alexander Kristoff coming in. Let's have a look. Sam Bennett up there as well. So Sam Bennett, we'll see the photo finish on the line. But Italy played that one perfectly, didn't they? There's Matteo Trentin, the outgoing champion. So it stays in Italy, the European title, getting themselves up there. Trentin, Consoni, Cimolai, all getting into that breakaway group earlier on in the day. They handed over the mantle of responsibility to Elia Viviani, and he delivers. So now he will move on to his new team next season. Can he have the same kind of success that he's had this year with De Koenig Quick Step? So a strong ride there, as Pascal Ackermann said. Got to take your hats off, though, to Yves Lampard, haven't you? 3.5k to go. You knew there was going to be that point where Lampard was going to have to move. He would be hoping that Viviani and Ackermann just would look at each other long enough for him to ride away solo. He had to lead the sprint out here, but really, it was all academic at that point. It was all about Viviani. Viviani jumps away, and there you have it. Points to the sky. What an emotional week it's been for our cycling community. And those are your medalists today. So what we love, completely different race to what we would be expecting when we came in to this one. And Viviani will just get himself ready for the podium presentation. Thanks for all your tweets and messages as well. Great to have you all on board. Lots more live racing and highlights to come here on GCN Racing, both on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So we have the Volgada Women's World Cup next week. We'll be bringing that to you live. We also have the Arctic Race of Norway to certain territories. Remember, TV rights, complicated things, so we try and get as many rights to as many countries as we can. But you've got the Arctic Race of Norway. That starts on Thursday, and then Maya Len and myself will be back next weekend for more great Women's World Tour action live from Sweden. And then the following week, we have some more great live racing for you. The following Ladies Tour of Norway and the Colorado Classic will be bringing you live as well. And then, of course, again, we've got at the end of the month, we have the Deutschland Tour as well. So loads of live racing to come. And then, of course, the Vuelta starts very soon as well. We'll have our little daily highlights of that. Confirmation of your top 10. Elia Viviani, the new European champion. Yves Lampaert takes silver. Pascal Ackermann, bronze. Christophe Ledmorcal, Bennett, Trentin, Miesgets, Demare, and Selig across the line. Here's Elia Viviani.
Congratulations, you did it.
Oh, it's amazing. So I think we do a completely different tactic of what we're thinking this morning, because we're thinking about the sprint, but at the end we want to make the race hard. We see from the other category, under 23, the women, and yeah, the race come really hard with a lot of corner, that cobble section, and then the wind make the difference. So like five laps to go, 6 laps to go, we decide to go with all the team, and then we split that group, and that was the right move. So, and then we know in the last few laps it's all about tactic and who have something in the legs, and luckily we have still something in the legs. So yeah, it's one of the best my win, because yeah, it's totally different of a bunch sprint.
We have new Viviani today.
Yeah, quite a different. So I win the Italian Championship like on this move. I know after the Grand Tour I always have really a lot of resistance and big legs. So yeah, that is amazing feeling.
And now what's about your future, your next programs?
Yeah, Hamburg and Ploé is in the schedule, so that is the last 2 big goals of the season, and then a little bit of rest before to come back on the track.
Oggi abbiamo conosciuto un nuovo Elia Viviani.
Direi di sì, forse abbiamo conosciuto un Elia che fa la gara, che accetta una gara dura e si mette in gioco. Oggi è bello vincere così, sicuramente è rischioso, ma quando ci sono le gambe è veramente bello vincere così.
Questa azione era programmata o no?
Ma non dal meeting di stamattina, però con Trentin sapevamo di poter fare una gara dura. Io esco dal tour con una buona condizione, quindi abbiamo fatto una selezione e poi era tutto un tatticismo e chi aveva le gambe negli ultimi 2 giri. Siamo andati via con questo bel terzetto. Lampaert è un super passista e abbiamo usato le sue trainate per restare davanti. Poi era ovvio che era un po' un gioco tattico con Ackermann, ma alla fine arrivare con Lampaert, che è anche il mio compagno di squadra, sicuramente è stato bello.
Complimenti.
Grazie.
You have an Italian interview, an Italian in English there. I knew they would want to have a little chat in Italian as well, but there you have it. Yeah, good legs. Lampaert, super persistent as well. This is the moment where it went. As Elia said there, completely different race to what they... That was it. Selig just swung off the front. Lampaert had a little glance around. And then from there, the Italians and the Germans both on the front absolutely played that one perfectly, didn't they? No one was expecting that move to go there. You can see Sebastian Langefeld reacting. And this was Lampaert's move. There's always that time, isn't there? If you're not the sprinter in that group, there was always that moment when you just feel that the pressure goes off. There's always that sort of momentary sort of time in a race, whether it's in the bunch or in a breakaway, where you sense, this is when I can make my move. This is where they start to think about how they're going to play out the finish. Ackermann, you could see there, Lampaert's attack there, as you said, it had Ackermann on the ropes. When Viviani went, as you said, that's the jump of a track rider, to be able to cross that gap, cross it quickly. When you're as Viviani's Olympic Omnium champion, you want to get across that gap as quickly as possible, like taking a lap on the track into the finish. Lampaert, it really at this point, he kind of knew, he would know that there's absolutely no way on earth I'm out sprinting Elia Viviani. Viviani was just checking to make sure that Ackermann wasn't coming up like a steam train and was going to go straight past him and snatch it, but Lampaert led out the sprint. And again, that jump of Viviani, as he said, he comes out of a Grand Tour with super legs, and that is what he's done. As I said, came in towards the finish, he's been winning since January, and that as a sprinter as well, that consistency throughout the season is absolutely phenomenal. And again, when we sort of look at Viviani going from Koenig Quick-Step over to Cofidis, and you hope that he can put that team together to keep that sort of that victories, that it's not all about that the way Koenig Quick-Step are leading him out. It is about, he's a super, he's a Viviani, he's an absolute super talent. He'll be targeting that Olympic gold medal again next year. So yeah, I think Cofidis look like they're really rebuilding. Cedric Vasseur doing a great job in sort of rebuilding that team, bringing in those new names. I think they need it, and a little bit of Italian flair, a little bit of Viviani, and I think it will make a huge difference to that team. And Viviani, of course, a rider that's won stages in all 3 Grand Tours. I think that reaction there just about sums it up, doesn't it? I think Alkmaar, you can see, look at that bike path just down there on the left. Always love a bike path like that in Belgium and the Netherlands. The Netherlands have some amazing bike paths. There's confirmation of your result. Viviani, Lampard, Ackermann, Christoph leading that sprint in, ahead of Morkau. Bennett getting up there. Trentin Mies gets Demare and Rudiger Selig. What a ride Rudiger Selig did as well for his teammate up the road. A little message, Giovanni Motto, CCC Grande Viviani. So thank you for your message. And Neil Dex 34 from remember, put your name and where you're from as well. So cheers from Adelaide. Remember, always good to have your names as well. I know you have everyone on Twitter and everything have our own little usernames and handles and stuff like that. So thanks, cheers from Adelaide. Thanks so many of you in Australia for staying up late. There's Eleanor Cecchini, and staying up late and watching us. Much appreciated. So Eleanor Cecchini taking silver yesterday, and Elia Viviani, our legend Johnny Bevan just saying in my ears that cycling's power couple, Viviani and Cecchini. So that's a good haul for that pair this weekend, silver and gold. Popular winner Viviani. What a great race to end what has been a great week's racing here in Alkmaar. Hope you've enjoyed it. And Viviani, if you can see all the cheese there, I don't know if he gets his weight in cheese, but it's very famous for its cheese. This area, we have the cheese museum. We haven't seen the cheese museum today, but Amy Peters was carried off on the cheese sled yesterday. Gouda and Edam, of course, the cheeses from here. Onto the podium, our medalists.
The jersey and the medals are presented by Rocco Catania, President of the European Cycling Union.
So Rocco Catania, the President of the European Cycling Union, will present the prizes.
In third place and winner of the bronze medal op de derde plaats en winnaar van de bronzen medaille.
So your third place, your bronze medalist from Germany, Pascal Ackermann. did everything he could today, didn't he, to try and take that title. Gotta say, big respect to Yves Lampaert for that ride. Silver medalist out of that, attacking with 3.5 kilometers to go. He would have needed, what's the word, a behemoth of a sprint to out-sprint Elia Viviani in that one. But great silver medalist today for Belgium. Your winner, because he will defend that next year in Trento, in Trentino, Italy, is 2020 European Championship. So Elia Viviani from Italy will be defending this jersey on home soil next year. And it will be great to see him racing in that jersey all throughout next season. And of course, the back end of this season as well. His team, I'm sure, his team sponsors will have that jersey ready probably by tomorrow. They normally do. Go to work straight away. So your new European champion and the gold medal. Great crowd. There is your winner. There are your medalists.
The flowers will be presented by the mayor of the municipality of Alkmaar. De bloemen worden overhandigd door een bijzonder.
So if you want to put that one in your diary, so next year, September 9th to 13th in 2020, because of course we've got the Olympics next year. 13 titles up for grabs in Trento and Trentino. It's a beautiful place, Trentino. Absolutely stunning part of the world. If you watch the Tour of the Alps, Giro del Trentino, it's a really, really beautiful part of the world. So if you want a trip next year, come over to Italy for that one. So come and watch. Put that one in your diary. So there you have it. Under 23 women's champion, under 23 men's champion, and the elite men's champion as well. Your national anthem of Italy.
Dames en heren, uw aandacht voor de nationale hymne van Italië.
There you have it. Elia Viviani, Yves Lampaert and Pascal Ackermann, your medalists here. The final race in Alkmaar in the Netherlands, here in the European Road Championships. A very, very well-deserving winner, and that will be a popular one. So there, while our medalists celebrate, what a race. So even Viviani said it himself, completely different tactics to what they were discussing a little bit earlier on. They'd watched the under-23 men and the elite women and how those races had gone, and decided as they went into those final sort of 80 kilometers to completely change the tactics. And what a race it gave us. As we said, shorter than we see in a lot of championship events that do push out over that sort of 200 up to 250 kilometers. So a really, really exciting race. I'm sure you will agree. So remember, like and share on Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to GCN Racing. As I said, we have loads of live action and highlights to come. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I'll see you very soon. From me, Martin McDonald. Bye for now.